What's going on, everyone? Welcome to the Peanut Gallery podcast. This is the place that we provide completely unprofessional and insignificant opinions on the most important and significant topics of the day. I'm your host, Jared, and with me as always is Seth. Seth, how you doing this week, man?
Quite excited for some of these topics. It's going to be pretty intense. I think some of these are insane that they actually happened this week. But I think it'll be good, man. We got a little bit of everything. We got some politics, we got some movies, we got some gaming. I think it's a nice mixture.
Yeah, definitely. First story this week. We CNN shows their true colors here. Why don't you hit us with what happened on this story?
All right. So a clip came out today on CNN, or hit the internet today. I don't know exactly when it came out, but it was a CNN reporter on live TV saying, and I quote, "Remember, it is illegal to possess these stolen documents. It's different for the media. So everything you learn about this, you're learning from us." So this is in regards to the WikiLeaks, which are emails and things that were hacked off of Clinton, presidential candidate Clinton's server, and they're being released. I don't know if there's like an exact time frame, but they're being released slowly, and a bunch got released not too long ago. And so basically CNN's coming out and saying, don't go read them yourself because it's illegal, but we're allowed to. And so anything you hear about this, you need to first have it vetted by us. It's like, are you kidding me?
I would love to ask this guy what gives CNN the legal ability to possess these documents, but it's illegal for another citizen to have them.
Whatever, man. Gosh.
Yeah. No,
and the fact that they have
crazy.
they feel they can just come out and say that, and it's
well, and when you have a culture of people who don't understand their rights and don't know this stuff, I guarantee you there's so many listeners who are like, oh yeah, I'm sure the media does have a right to these documents that I don't have a right to. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
Like,
and I'm sure there are things that the media are privy to that we shouldn't be allowed to see. I don't think this is one of them, but I also was thinking about it, and I don't think there's
anything really. I mean, the media has special access to certain events, obviously, because they get invited to it.
Well, there's like off the record stuff that, I guess I don't know if that counts.
But it's up to their discretion. It's nothing illegal that people are not legally allowed to know that media outlets are allowed to know.
True, I guess. So, I don't know. It just smells of like we're gonna only show you things that we want to see, and I think it actually. When I was thinking about it, I was like, this actually kind of makes sense for them to say that, because I feel like CNN has like two types of people. There are two types of people in how they deal with CNN. You have the one type of person that watches it religiously, and that's their news. That's everything. They just gobble it up, whatever. And then the other type of person is one that just is like, they're gonna go do their own information. Like they're gonna go do their own due diligence, and I think like the people that are just so sucked into CNN, they're gonna hear this, and then anyone that comes back at them and is like, "Well, did you read about these WikiLeaks?" They're gonna be like, "Well, no, those are illegal. You shouldn't have read those. So anything you say is invalid." Like it's a self-fulfilling prophecy in that they're telling their audience not to listen to what anybody else has to say about it, so then they can completely control what they learn about it. And then if someone brings information that CNN didn't decide that they think they should share, they're going to blow it off.
Yeah, no, absolutely. I mean, you see media outlets doing this all the time, but CNN and MSNBC are kind of prominent ones who do this kind of stuff. There was a story.
You got Fox on the right. I mean,
yeah, they do it too. I don't think it's quite the extent. I don't know, man. I saw there was a story. Maybe I haven't seen quite as many stories about it, but there was a story on CNN where it was a Trump supporter. They didn't know it at the time. He had done, I forget what it was. Anyways, he ended up saving some person from like a train or car accident. So they were interviewing him, and he was wearing a Trump Pence 2016 shirt, and they intentionally blurred the shirt out during the interview afterwards. You know what I mean? It's just stuff like that.
There's also the Black Lives Matter girl that was saying burn their stuff, don't burn ours, and they
they edited it.
They cut it so it sounded like she was saying something good when you saw the whole video, and then they came out and they were like, oh yeah, well, we accidentally miscut this. It's like, no, you don't accidentally cut 3 seconds out of a whole video that is
exactly, and then put them together to make it sound what you're trying to get across.
Yeah, it blew my mind when I heard it, and I was just like, I cannot believe that they just came out and say it.
the vast majority of people watching this, these mainstream media outlets are not going to go and actually do their own homework and figure out, and try and do research on this kind of stuff themselves. You know what I mean? They're going to take what they say and believe it a lot of times.
And it is intense. I don't know if you've tried to look at it. I don't want to say I've tried to look at it because apparently it's illegal, so I don't want to do that. But if I had tried to jail, look at it, it's not easy to read through because they are official documents, so they're not written for like normal people to understand. And there is a lot of information.
Also, there's so many that are getting dumped I feel like every day I look, it's another scandal about Hillary Clinton and her email dump.
She handed over all of her emails, so it's fine. She handed them all over.
So well, all of them were about her yoga classes. And
and I think there were personal ones to Bill, even though Bill said he'd only emailed her like once. Whatever. Yeah. It's just infuriating that they feel like, and they're able to just come out and say this, and no one can call them on it really. Like we can, and we're going to, but it's not gonna it's the damage is done, and it's like, are you kidding me?
Yeah, no, it's interesting. If you look at mainstream media and stuff like that, they are more mistrusted than the United States Congress, which the United States Congress has horrible approval ratings. Like, people have disdain for both parties and the gridlock that's going on there. And the mainstream media has even worse approval ratings than that. So, I mean, at least that's something that's good. But, however, they still get a ton of viewers and a ton of people still watch it, and their ratings are still going up. So, I mean, I don't know.
And it's just a conflict of interest that CNN is a big donor for the Hillary's
Clinton Foundation
or whatever. Yeah. And they want to be the only ones reporting on this. That's just just using your head, you can realize that that's not a good idea.
They have the legal power to do so.
Well, because it's illegal.
Yeah, exactly.
All right. I mean, we could talk about this for a while. Let's go on to the next one. Equally as infuriating. Get these out of the way.
Yeah, man. So next we got another great story about Secretary Clinton here. So she was on Ellen, of course. So they were talking about some stuff. What do you think about that?
All right. So what was going on is it was after the previous debate, which was the second debate. Hillary Clinton was on Ellen, and Ellen was asking about the debate, and Clinton was talking, and she was saying how she had to prep for this, and how the video about what Trump said had just come out, and she said that you could feel the anger in Trump there. And then she went on to say that she felt on the stage that she said Trump was, quote, literally stalking me. What? She's like, I had to keep looking back, and Trump, are you kidding me? We all stalking you. You're on a stage. It's maybe 12 feet round. I mean, it's
ridiculous, man.
Just to demonize Trump, make him look like this big man intimidating this little woman. Are you kidding me?
Yeah. I mean, I think that sounds crazy. I mean, there's plenty of legitimate things, in my opinion, that you can go after Trump for, but why would you pick stalking on stage?
Well, because it makes him sound like a bad person. Stalkers are bad, right? Oh, it's a stalker's bad. She thinks he's a stalker. He must.
Yeah, but who believes this stuff, man?
People are voting for her.
It's crazy, man.
No, I don't want to annex them, but there are people, I think, that will take whatever she says at face value. And I mean, there's people that will do that on Trump's side. There's people that do that for all sorts of things, and yeah,
it's crazy.
She also went on to talk about how hard it was to debate Trump because everything he said was just a lie, and she said she got tired of just being like, "That's not true. That's not true." And then she goes on to say how she feels like he just hopes people will forget what he said previously by just saying the things now, and he thinks he can just rewrite history by just saying different things now because people won't go back. And as she said that, I was just staring.
She's never done that before, though.
You just described your whole presidential platform.
What? Yeah, you know what I got tired of? I got tired of scrolling down after page 7 after I Google searched Hillary Clinton lies.
Yeah.
And after 7 pages of reading this, I'm like, all right, I'm tired of this, and I'm not even to the point where she's the first lady yet.
Yeah. I mean, I think she has legitimate points, and I think that a lot of things Trump says are not accurate.
Well, this is the thing. I think that they're both accurate when they're accusing the other person of something, but when they're defending themselves, they both lie about everything. You know what I mean? I think they're both pathological liars. So when she says that Trump is a liar and lying about this, I'm like, yeah, I think you're right. He did say that. That is a lie. And then when Trump says this about her and she tries to defend herself, I'm like, no, you are right. Hillary did say that. But then when they both try to defend themselves, if, she's saying that she handed over all of her emails when she clearly didn't,
yeah,
that's a liar. When Trump says that he didn't say something when there's audio of him doing it, it's clearly a lie. You know what I mean?
They're both liars. I mean, yeah you're exactly right. It's and then she got all soft and was like, I just want us to show kindness and respect towards others. And it was just like, you just felt like she was really grasping for those votes. And maybe she does feel that genuinely. I don't know her, I've never met her, but it just felt very pandering and was like, oh, I'm on Ellen, let's do this. And then Ellen,
well, I definitely believe her, because when she was laughing about defending a child rapist, I mean, that just kind of
that happened
points
a long
to
time
happiness.
ago, Jared. So it doesn't matter. But when what Trump said happened a long time ago, it does. Like, it's just
it does matter.
You can't apply logic to this.
Yep, left a long time.
And then
ago.
lastly, Ellen was like, "If you have one birthday wish, what would it be?" And she was like, "I just wish that I can be the president this country needs." I mean, I guess she has to say that, and I guess maybe she does feel that, but it just felt very forced to me, and I was just like, people like watch this? I don't know.
Dude, I know. And I really think, I mean, she's not that likable of a person. I mean, even on the other
people
side,
don't like
she's
her.
not
the second most not liked candidate ever. Like,
exactly. And the Republicans topped her by
she's against.
Yeah. Exactly. And literally any other candidate could have gone up against her. A Marco Rubio could have blown her out of the water.
Well, because in the things that have gotten leaked,
the WikiLeaks, they talked about how they clearly wanted Trump.
Because they thought Rubio would easily beat her.
Oh, yeah, easily.
So they went after Rubio, obviously.
Yeah, I mean, Marco Rubio is charismatic. He's appealing. People kind of generally like him. People don't like Hillary Clinton.
No. And it's crazy because I feel like everyone did like her when she ran against Obama. No? Like, I feel like...
I think that, I don't know when her popularity began to sink. I just think, dude, you can't go through that many 30 years worth of scandals and be a likable person. I mean, I don't know how it's possible.
Yeah.
But she's in there.
Yeah, and lastly on this topic, I like Ellen. I was a little bit disappointed in Ellen. I like Ellen. I think she's really funny. She has great segments. She does really good interviews, I think. And I feel like she kind of missed the beat when she didn't, and maybe she has in the past and I haven't seen it, but in this interview she didn't hold Hillary to the same standard she's held other people she's had. Like when Caitlyn Jenner or Bruce had turned into Caitlyn, I think, and so it was Caitlyn at that point. So when Caitlyn
Transformers!
So when Caitlyn was on the show, Ellen asked her about her views on same-sex marriage, and Caitlyn Jenner was like, well, I always was more with the traditional sense of marriage, but she said, I think I can get on board with gay marriage. And then Ellen was like, you think you can get on board? Like, that doesn't sound like a approval. It's like I guess. And then she went on about how, like, you're being this transformative person, and your whole platform right now is that I was a woman trapped in a man's body, so I should be able to change and be free, and yet you're telling gay people that they're not allowed to be free, and so they can't get married.
It's very inconsistent if you're Caitlyn Jenner.
Exactly. And she thought it was disingenuous. Yet she has Hillary on, and you can find videos of Hillary talking about supporting traditional marriage.
Not even that long ago. Like, look back to 2010 and you will find videos of that.
And I think it's a big issue not an issue, but it's something Ellen is very passionate about, obviously.
Yeah.
And so the fact that she has her on there and doesn't even bring it up.
Dude, I honestly don't find it that surprising. I mean, when you get to the stature of Hillary Clinton and Trump too, I mean, because there's been, people have released stuff about this. Yeah, well, he's not coming on. But they will talk about everything they're going to discuss. They will tell them the exact questions they're going to ask them, and they're not going to go at this point in the race.
I guess
arguably really at any point of the race, neither candidate has gone into any shows or anything like that are not friendly towards them. You know what I mean? Hillary's not going to go into any hostile environment right now.
That's true.
And Ellen is clearly a friend of the left and the Democratic Party. So
I just personally, I was like, dang it, come on, Ellen.
Yeah, I mean,
I still like Ellen, but I was just a little upset.
Yep, and reasonably for it. Next up in the docket, we got JK Rowling. I know Seth is a huge fan of Harry Potter.
Got my wand in the background there. I don't think you can see it. But
exactly.
I have a wand.
Nerd. I like Harry Potter too. It's really cool. I'm not as big of a fan as Seth. He's read all the books. I've seen the movies because it's easier to watch a movie than to read.
Whoa, you've seen the movies.
Huge book. Yeah, exactly. I'm a dedicated fan.
Oh, yeah.
But yeah, some interesting news about the new trilogy, or maybe not trilogy, coming out about that.
Yeah, she was doing an interview. I don't know what the interview was for exactly, but she said, and I quote, "We set a trilogy as a placeholder because we knew there would be more than one movie, but we're pretty sure it's going to be 5 movies," is what she said. So they're changing it from a trilogy to 5 movies. I don't think any of it has been written yet. It sounds pretty fluid right now. This really has me worried because I'm really already not on board with this Fantastic Beasts thing. I'm very nervous because I love Harry Potter, and it's important. Not important to me, but I grew up with it. I remember getting the books the day they came out. They would be delivered to my door. I would literally book. I think it was Order of the Phoenix came out. The day it came out, I sat down. And I just read that thing straight, and I finished it in just a couple days. It was so awesome. And so it has a dear place in my heart. And after the stage play, the Harry Potter and the Cursed Child, or whatever it's called, didn't get great reviews. People didn't really like it. They thought it was pretty shallow and kind of like fan fiction, not really worthy of the Harry Potter name. This new movie coming out, it needs to be good. I don't think it can live up to the originals. What is it? It's 8 movies? 7 movies? I don't know.
Well, there's 7 books, so 8 movies.
There you go. So I don't think it can hold up.
Bigger fan than you are, man.
Well, it gets confusing when they split the last one up. And I don't know. It seems premature to
I totally agree.
Additional movies before the first one has even come out, and we don't even know if people like it. We don't know if it's good. I don't know. I'm very nervous. I'm completely willing to give it a try. I will definitely see it probably the day it comes out. And I hope it's good, and I hope that it's not them just watering down the franchise, but it's actually them invested in this.
Yeah, I mean, I'm not too shocked. I mean, there's so many trilogies that come out in our 4 movies, so they're probably thinking, you know what? 4 is better than 5. You know what I mean? Like 5 movies will make more money than 3 movies. So why don't we just make another movie?
Like Harry Potter did it, then Twilight did it, then
Divergent is doing it. Hunger Games did it.
Hunger Games, yeah. So
yeah, you got a lot of them doing it.
But it really only worked out for Harry Potter.
Harry Potter, I think.
I don't think they people really liked the fact that they split it up.
I don't know about Twilight at all, but yeah, I know Hunger Games kind of faded off, and Divergent is super bad now, apparently.
Yeah. As we discussed last, Jared crashed that movie. Yeah.
Brought that movie all of its sales.
These last couple topics, just to run through them quickly because I don't want to use up all the time on just the news. Also, Battlefield 1 comes out this week.
Yeah, this is super cool to me. I think it's cool that they're going back. You know, all the kind of shooters nowadays are like kind of modern day set. It went through a huge era where everything was World War II. And then it made the jump kind of with Call of Duty 4 to the Modern Warfare. Now it's going back to World War I, which is really cool because I'm a fan of history and I like that kind of era and stuff like that. And there's not much of anything when you look at media, you know, even movies and stuff like that. There's not much. There's a lot with World War II. There's not much in World War I.
Well, because World War I was a pretty boring war. I mean,
it was a lot of trench fighting and stuff like that.
Like the whole line moved, like less than 7 miles, right? Or something crazy?
No, way less than that. It was like a matter of feet.
Yeah,
it was.
So that doesn't make an exciting movie.
No, I mean, I agree, but it's interesting though. I think World War I was a fascinating war because it was such a transition between the Civil War and then you have World War II and you have World War I in the middle. So you have some people who are still, you know, riding horses and stuff like that, and then you have other people with like tear gas grenades and like miniguns and stuff like that.
Tanks,
you know what I mean?
Starting, right?
Yeah, exactly. And you had the first kind of introduction of planes and stuff like that in World War I. So it was, I don't know. I think it's fascinating. But
it's definitely a cool timepiece, and I also think it's cool that it separates itself from all of the futuristic military shooters nowadays. Definitely like it. I also wanted to know, so they're doing an interesting thing where if you pre-ordered a certain edition, you're getting the game 3 days early. What do you think about that?
I don't really have a problem with it necessarily. I mean, I don't know. I don't know what I think. I don't think there's much of. I don't know. I'm not big on pre-orders anyways, just because you never know how the game's going to turn out.
Yeah.
And after I bought Halo 5 and figured out that I couldn't play with my friends.
Or the Master Chief Collection.
Yeah, and it didn't work. I was like, well, forget this. Never doing that again.
Yeah, dude.
So I would not pre-order a game ever again until reviews came out, or I could at least see what it looked like.
Yeah. It's also not a big deal. Like, in a month, are you going to care that you got it 3 days early?
Yeah.
I mean, I'm sure.
I think it will be effective, though. Honestly, I'm sure people will pre-order.
Oh yeah,
for
I'm sure
that specific
it drove
reason.
pre-orders for sure. Yeah.
So it's probably a smart business decision by EA.
Well, yeah, they make a lot of smart business decisions that are not consumer friendly.
Very true.
Yeah.
Very true.
Lastly, this is one I threw in at the last second because I thought it was interesting, and I think that I want to give props. One, because it's my favorite artist, and two, because I think it's really cool that he's speaking out against the norm and against what media and what Hollywood and what famous people are usually aligned with. And it's Lil Wayne, rapper extraordinaire. No, I'm just kidding. Lil Wayne. Previously, he had been on ESPN, show Undisputed, I think, or I think it was Undisputed. Maybe it was Unfiltered. I don't know. They had asked him his thoughts on Black Lives Matter and racism, and you could tell they really wanted him to show support for it, and they were really trying to egg him on. And he straight up came out and said that he didn't know what racism was. He thought it was gone.
It was Undisputed, yeah.
Yeah, he's like, I thought it was gone. And he talked about how when he's 34 now. So when he was really young, I think he was like 10. I don't know how he was really young. He shot himself on accident and was bleeding out on the floor, and the cops came to the door and they busted the door open, and he said the black cops jumped over him and started looking in the house for drugs and the weapon and stuff, and then the one white cop looked down and was like, what are you guys doing? You're just leaving this kid on the ground bleeding out. And they were like, don't worry, we called the ambulance, we got to find like the drugs and stuff. And the white guy was like, dude, he's not gonna make it if you wait for the ambulance. And he literally picked him up and took him to the hospital. And so Wayne always, like, what he's been saying is like, a white cop saved me. I don't know what racism is. Yeah, and I thought that was really cool.
Definitely.
It's very cool. You know, it's cool. Like, it's not saying that racism doesn't exist.
It's refreshing, honestly, when you have so many stories in the media that are talking about, you know, all of these deep racial divides and racial tension and stuff like that going on now, which, like you were just saying, it's not to say that racism doesn't exist. I believe that there are certainly individual people who are racist, but I think that it has been vastly blown out of proportion.
Exactly. And it's refreshing because I do think a lot of people are on board with it not having actually experienced real racism. Maybe they thought they did, and I think racism has become watered down to what it really is, where it's really thinking a race is inferior to you. It's not like making fun of another race. It's thinking literally that your race is better than their race. You know, it's more serious than people make it out to be. But
yeah, well, cool. I mean, when you have, you know, people attacking other people on just anything, calling them racist, you know what I mean? It kind of dilutes the term of the word, you know what I mean? People aren't going to take it as serious.
To it.
Yeah,
exactly. And so I think it's awesome. I think it speaks to Wayne's character. I think he's an awesome person. There's also the awesome story where he was on his plane ready to fly out to his next show. He saw a military aircraft coming into the airport, and he told his pilot, we're not taking off. He got off the plane, waited for the military plane to land, and then he stood there and shook every single military personnel's hand there and thanked them for their service. I think that's awesome. I think it speaks to him. I mean, you cannot like his music, and I think that he does his music as his music, and I don't necessarily think that is an indication of how he lives his everyday life. I think he knows I think he knows his audience, and I think he knows the type of music that he makes. But I just think that's cool, and I think that it's refreshing, like you said, to see someone that's so big in like hip hop coming out and saying, yeah, racism, it's not a thing in my life. I've never dealt with it. He even came out and said he has never dealt with racism.
Yeah. Which is it's definitely not indicative of someone kind of in his world, you know what I mean? In the rapping kind of community, typically it's anti-cop and stuff like that. Exactly. So it's really cool to see. I think it's awesome.
For sure. So yeah, I just wanted to throw that in there. I think it's worth talking about.
Yeah,
mostly
absolutely.
It's Lil Wayne, let's be honest.
Your favorite fanboy. Yeah. All right.
Yeah,
so
definitely.
Moving into the main topic of the show, kind of to go along with the whole election season and everything like that, we're going to talk a little bit about the two-party system, how it came about
in America. I mean, if you want to be the two-party system in America.
Exactly. Well, I think two-party system is really only a thing in America nowadays. No other country right now has a two-party system that's as
yeah, I think. Yeah, I don't want to speak on it because I'm not totally sure, but I think, if anything, we're definitely, I think, the most
prominent.
Yeah, exactly.
So yeah, we just kind of wanted to talk about it a little bit. First, I want to talk about just a little bit of history about the two-party system, and then we'll kind of get into our opinions about it and what we think. So America has pretty much only known a two-party system ever since George Washington left office. Ever since the 1790s, we've had a two-party system, whether it's the Federalists and the Democratic Republicans, or the Whigs and the Democrats, or now the Republicans and the Democrats. It's always been prominently a two-party system in the United States. So we haven't really known anything other than a two-party system. And it's interesting, if you're looking at the United States Constitution, it doesn't talk anything about a two-party system. It doesn't favor a two-party system at all. And in fact, John Adams once said, "There is nothing which I dread so much as a division of the republic into two great parties, each arranged under its leader, and converting measures in opposition to each other. This, in my humble apprehension, is to be dreaded as one of the greatest political evils under our Constitution." So I mean, that's some very, very valid criticism of John Adams. And then later on, George Washington, kind of agrees with him and backs him up. So it's very clear that the founders, while there was definitely division among the founders, certain founders definitely did not like the idea of a two-party system. And
they were so wise, man.
Oh, I know. Yeah, no, it's crazy.
The fact that they could foresee that'd be an issue way back then,
No, exactly.
Very cool.
Super cool. And I mean, when they wrote the Constitution, I think Thomas Jefferson was like my age, so that's pretty depressing.
Was he really?
Yeah. Oh, yeah. He was so young, man.
What are we doing, man?
But anyways, so I think that's some interesting history about it and what America has known. So now we can just kind of dive into our opinions a little bit. Seth, what do you think, man? What do you think about the two-party system?
I think it's horrible. I think it's destructive. I think it breeds a good guy, bad guy mentality, because that's how our brains work. There's two things. One must be good, and if one's good, the other must be bad. And so I just think that it's destructive, and I don't think it's good. We've actually talked about this, how part of me, like a little bit of me, would like Trump to get elected, because Trump, I don't think, is a Republican.
Oh, that means you're a Hillary supporter.
Yeah. Exactly. Exactly. Yeah. Oh my gosh. So anyway, part of me wishes Trump would get elected, so that he destroys the Republican Party, and then somehow the Democrats get destroyed too. But just so that we can get rid of both of these parties, man, I think they've gotten so bad, and they've gotten even worse with the fact that they have their hands in the media, in everything, and there's so much corruption, and it's just not beneficial. It's not healthy, man.
Yeah. No, I mean, I definitely, those are definitely valid criticisms of the two-party system. I completely agree with your first point. It definitely kind of insinuates that one is good and one is bad. It's a binary choice, because that's kind of how our minds work, and that's how people vote. I mean, obviously you can't split up your vote and vote, primarily one with a little bit of another. That's not how it works. So you have to pick and choose a side, and then, die on the hill for that side.
Yeah.
Which I think that's definitely unhealthy to an extent. I think that there's definitely room for improvement for it. I think that the two-party system is stable and consistent. Obviously, no other political party system like ours has gone through a civil war, global confrontation with 2 world wars and a Great Depression, and still been standing.
I mean, some would say the Civil War was because of a two-party system. You had the North and
yeah,
South.
but then it's still a two-party system afterwards, is what I'm saying. It was still.
Yeah, I'm just kidding. Yeah.
So, I think that's definitely telling. However, I think that there can definitely be ways to improve it. When you look at a lot of other countries and stuff like that, and the argument that America should do something because other established nations have done it, I hate that argument. I don't think it's a valid argument at all because I believe that America is very unique.
We've thrived on doing things differently.
Exactly. So I don't take that at all and say, oh, well, Australia is doing this. We should do this. However, I don't want to be, too cocky or too proud to think that, we're too good to take any ideas from other countries.
Yeah.
But if you look at a lot of other countries, even other democracies and stuff like that, which America is not a democracy, it's a republic. However, it's
literally in the Pledge of Allegiance.
Exactly. Yeah, people don't know that though.
No.
But a lot of those other countries and stuff like that have multiple parties. I think, some countries have up to 18 parties, which is crazy to me. Now, the fear of that is that if you have 18 parties, or let's not make it that extreme, say you have six parties.
Yeah.
And one party wins.
5 would be an easier fraction. But.
Fine. 5 parties. Not a math guy. 5 parties and one of them wins. That means that, and the worst case scenario, you have a country being run by
how many
20%. Nice.
Oh, look at you. Nice.
20% of the supporters, by 20% of the population is now ruling over the country kind of thing. Now, if you have checks and balances like the United States has set up, I think that something like that could work. Mm-hmm. However, in a lot of these other countries and stuff like that where they don't have the United States Constitution and their democracies are not set on the rule of law and the republic that the United States is, I don't think it works out nearly as well. Mm-hmm. That's why I think that an idea like that could work better in the United States than it would in another country.
Yeah, that makes sense.
But that's my main fear of not having a two-party system is having, one particular party in control of the nation when it's not the majority of people line up with that party. You know what I mean? Because if you have one party that's far left on the spectrum, and then the other 5 parties are fairly moderate to conservative, but those all split up the other 80% of the vote or 79% of the vote, and this one gets 21% of the vote, then you have them ruling where these other, 79% of the people don't necessarily agree with it at all. So that's an extreme example, but it could happen.
Why can't we have a 2-candidate system, but not necessarily a 2-party system? Because I think my big issue is the parties, like the Republicans and the Democrats. I think those, the names, what comes with them, the baggage, what they stand for a lot of the time, like that's what I have issues with. Like you have so many people that vote Republican, and they're going to vote Republican, and there's people that are going to vote Democrat because that's what they do. They vote Democrat. That's not good. You're not voting for what you want. You're blindly just being like, well, it's a Democrat, so it must be in line with my beliefs, especially this election. If you're always voted Republican and now you're voting Trump because he's Republican, he probably doesn't share all your views because he's not really conservative. And so I think it just creates uneducated voters because they just feel like, well, I'm a Republican, so I don't need to listen to the debate. I already know I'm voting for the Republican candidate, where I think that people should vote on the candidates that have policies that they agree with, and they should vote on the issues and not vote on the platform.
Yeah, no, definitely. And even you have, candidates or individuals who will hear the candidate speak and stuff like that and disagree with them, but say, I don't have an option. This is the only person I can vote for because the other person on the other side is even worse.
Yeah.
You know what I mean?
Like, imagine what could happen if we didn't have the 2-party system with this last election. I mean, you'd probably have Donald, Hillary, Bernie, and Cruz, and with Trump tanking so hard now, it would have boosted up Cruz. Bernie might have even grabbed more votes with Hillary's. You're definitely going into speculation there, but I think that's definitely an interesting picture because I think Trump would kind of begin to tank. Cruz would take some more of those supporters, and I think Bernie Sanders over time, without the super delegates in the DNC working against them,
working against him, I think he would be gaining a lot of support and stuff like that too. Yeah. So it's definitely an interesting theory to entertain.
Yeah, and also the parties, like, they restrict just normal people from coming out. Like,
it's much harder for any idea or something like that to become mainstream or to be voted in or any party to get in.
We're pigeonholed into this or this.
Yeah.
Like let's be honest, libertarians never going to win a presidency. The Green Party's never going to win a presidency. Like, those are nice ideas, but what are you doing, honestly?
Yeah. No, definitely. I know. Yeah, and that's, once again, a fault of the two-party system, because I think there's a lot of interesting ideas that, say, the Libertarian Party could offer this country. I think a lot of them are, better than Democrat ideas, and a lot of them, I think, are even better than Republican ideas. Mm-hmm. So I think that the two-party system squashes other competition and other ideas, which I don't think is a good idea. I don't think that's the basis of what America was founded on and stuff like that. I think it thrives off competition, whereas the two-party system makes it very hard to compete with the other parties and to get other ideas out there.
And I think it is very telling that you have someone like John Adams coming out and being like, this is don't do this, and now we've literally become exactly what he said we shouldn't.
Dude, if you go back and look at founders' quotes, we have done the exact opposite of what they have told us to do. So we're doing pretty good so far.
I mean, we still have our guns, and they only really meant muskets. So.
Well, yeah, because they didn't know that advancements in technology would take place.
They only shipped in cannons for some of the citizens.
Exactly. No, totally. I mean, the people who wrote and ratified the U.S. Constitution weren't smart enough to anticipate advancements in technology. Obviously, it's totally outdated.
They thought it would just stay the same.
It'd be muskets forever.
For sure. All right. Before we get too off the rails.
Another rant going on. But yeah, so I thought that was interesting. I don't really know what the alternative would be in this country. Like we talked about, though, I think there's definitely room for other parties. If you look at other countries, do your own homework, do research on this. I find it really interesting. It's pretty fascinating what other countries do, because there's a lot of division in other democracies on what they do. Some have, 18 parties, some have 6 parties. A lot of times in other countries, you don't even vote for a specific candidate. You vote for a party that has candidates inside of the party, and then when you vote for that party, it's like a percentage-based thing. So say 60% of the votes go to, say it's a Democrat party, and then the other 40% go to a Republican party. Instead of the Democrat party winning everything, they win 60% of the chairs or whatever. Say it's like it's the House of Representatives. That would then be 60% of the chairs go to the Democrats and 40% go to the Republicans, or vice versa, however it works. Whereas in the United States, it's winner take all. It would then be all Democrat or all Republican. You know what I mean? So I think there's other interesting approaches to it.
And I do think maybe the two-party system can work. It's just the parties we have now, I don't think are up to snuff.
Absolutely.
Also, while I do think what we are founded on is a superior form of government, I mean, I think we've fallen a lot on the way that we do our government, and who's to say there isn't a better way out there that maybe we just haven't figured out. I don't think that it's like this is what it has to be. Maybe it can evolve into something different, or maybe there's, like you said, things we can grab from other countries that would be beneficial.
Yeah, as long as it's within the bounds of the Constitution and stuff like that, I'm good with it. I mean, the two-party system was not a constitutional idea, and it was even warned against by the founding fathers. So I don't have any problem with trying to figure. Yeah, let's do it right now, man. Let's do it.
Yeah. I don't know.
So we'll see. Interesting topic. Tell us what you guys think. Comment below.
What kind of system do you guys like? Do you like the two-party system? Do you think that it makes it? Maybe some people think it makes it easier to understand what you're voting for because they're complicated issues.
God forbid you have to do some research.
Well, bro, come on, man. Let's be honest. It's illegal for us to do research.
Exactly. The media has to tell us everything.
Yeah, well, they're allowed to. It's illegal for us. Exactly.
Yeah, so let us know what you guys think about that. Sound off on that. In the meantime, we're going to move on to something a little bit less stressful and move into something more fun. So this is our segment that we talk about every week, incredible levels in game design, or in games. This week, probably the best level I've ever experienced, played anything like that in my life. Halo 1, Assault on the Control Room. Take it away, man.
It's a beast of a level. Oh, dude, this level was the level that my friend had gotten an Xbox, the original Xbox, and he was playing this level when we came over, me and my brother, and flying around in the Banshees, which are like their planes, in this snow-covered canyon with this bridge and this crazy concrete monument, and it was blew my mind at the time. And from that time, I was like, I need to get this and I need to play this. And then I think it was that Christmas, my parents got us an Xbox and they got us Halo. And this is probably the most played Halo level I've ever played on any of the Halos.
Absolutely.
And, I mean, co-op, single player. I mean, I've run through it countless times with my brother, with you, all difficulties, man. It is
amazing.
Because like the scale, you have close combat, you have huge open sections. It's a long level, which I really liked, but you get vehicles, you get heavy weapons, you get, like I said, just close combat. There's stealth sections. There's a lot of freedom. It felt like you were dropped into these sandboxes for you to just enjoy and to play around with.
Definitely. This level was so ahead of its time, and I mean, this game came out in 2001. That's crazy to think about, and we're still raving about it 15 years later.
We could do that. I mean? We would play it today, and people would play it today, and it would be just as awesome. I think.
Oh, totally, it would be. And I mean, part of that obviously is the nostalgia playing in, knowing that we've grown up playing this game. I remember, I don't even know, what was I, like 7? I was 7 years old playing this game.
Were we really that young? Wow, we were way too young to be playing this.
Yeah, parents. Gosh,
I never really did understand why Halo was rated M though.
Yeah, I know. I don't. Well, it was the paint. It was the splat paint.
That's right. It had the grunt. Yeah, that's true. You could just. That's right.
But this level's amazing. I loved how you walked out in the beginning of it on that one bridge, and you could kind of still take out some of the guys, and then you look down and there's this whole valley and everything with vehicles that you get to later and you go through, and of course there's a sniper on the level. And if you watched the last podcast, you know I'm all about sniping. So, I mean, automatic win for me.
Jared just laid down in the corner of the level.
Exactly. I've never really finished the level. Once I got the sniper, I just kind of stayed in that area the whole time. So I don't really know what happens after that. But
yeah. It's so cool. And there are little things like a lot of levels and a lot of games, like they'll start with your enemies just already there, and you walk in, and then you're fighting them. Like if there's planes, the planes are just kind of sitting in the air until you start the part, and then they just come in. But this level had the aircraft were just sitting on the ground, and then there were the enemies, and the enemies would run and get to the aircraft, and then be in the air, and then that's how you'd fight planes.
And you can prevent it if you take them out or something or take out the aircraft before they can get in it, which is really
especially
cool.
For the harder difficulties, you had to take out the elites, which were an enemy type, before they got to the Banshees, which are the planes, because if you didn't get them, the Banshees were so hard to fight.
Yeah.
And it was just really cool that was an option. If you were remember the one part where it's on the bridge and you have to shoot you have to run out. One person basically has to run out, snipe the elite, and then
that was me.
He gets killed, and then the other guy sits back, spawns them because they had the checkpoint spawning. And then you go out. Oh. And then you knock the Banshees down for later in the level, and then you can fly.
And then you can use them later on. Yeah.
Oh,
that level's amazing. Super strategic, super cool environment and atmosphere too. I mean, you have the snow going on, and you're in this huge valley mountain pass the whole time.
Yeah,
beautiful. Yeah, it was super cool.
Tank, dude, and you're just like wreck shop.
Had it all.
It was awesome.
The game was amazing. The level's amazing.
Another one worthy of the list.
I know, man. They need to come out with another. Gosh,
remaster.
No, just another good Halo, man. One where I can sit on the couch and have a friend over and play the game. But I can't do that now with the new one because it sucks.
It doesn't have split screen. Yeah, it's kind of garbage.
Anyways, moving on.
What we're playing.
Yeah, definitely. No, so this is pretty cool. I have recently been playing. I booted up Middle-earth: Shadow of Mordor, which is a Lord of the Rings game. And I've always loved Lord of the Rings. This is actually one of the few books that I read almost all of the book. That thing is ridiculously long.
You read those?
Almost all of one of the books.
I started Fellowship, and I was like, this is too dense.
No, I thought it was really cool, man. I got super into it, tried to learn the language and everything, but then I gave up after 10 minutes.
There was 5 hours in the book of just describing a leaf on a tree, and I was like, I can't do this.
Well, 5 hours, and in the book's defense, it was really only one page. It just took you that long to read it.
I mean, words are difficult, and they were. I hadn't learned English yet.
But anyways, this game is really cool. It takes the combat straight out of Batman, the Batman games, which to say the combat is probably unrivaled in any game, really, hand-to-hand combat. So I have no complaints at all with that. It's super cool. The atmosphere is awesome. It's got a really cool part of the game called the Nemesis system, which if you don't know,
I think that's what part of the game that shines, man.
Yeah, no, definitely. It was really cool. Put a whole nother level of density into it. So, like, say you get in a conflict with an orc or an Uruk, if you're really into it.
Wow.
Yeah, exactly.
All right, we're going there.
I'm getting to a whole nother level here.
Is he Urukai or?
Listen, all right. Don't test me. All right. It is the Uruk.
Have you seen the Colbert and James Franco Tolkien battles?
No.
Stephen
That's got to be
Colbert
pretty funny.
Is a huge Tolkien fan, like insane. Knows all of the gods, the mythos, everything.
Really?
And James Franco heard about it and challenged him to a Tolkien off, and he got destroyed, and it was awesome. And
James Franco did?
Yeah, and then he got destroyed again.
That's awesome. Well, at least Stephen Colbert did something right. Anyways, what was that? Oh yeah, the Uruk. So the Nemesis system. When you go and you fight an orc or something like that, say that they end up beating you and then kill you, and then I'm not going to explain it all, but you end up coming back, and then the orc will remember you, kind of thing, and like he'll get promoted throughout the ranks because you're this infamous kind of orc slayer and fighter for Gondor, I guess. Yeah. And so they'll like rise in the ranks, different orcs that beat you, or if you eliminate an orc, then they go away, and then another captain comes and takes the place. It's really cool. It's a super cool tech.
Just like a cool system.
Yeah, that's what I was trying to say.
Yeah.
It's a cool system in the game that just kind of adds one more layer of depth. And
yeah, I remember when I first heard about it, I thought it was I was like, this seems kind of cheesy. But like because there's levels for the enemies, and when you fight like a high level enemy, they're difficult. And I remember like the first time playing and fighting them, and of course whenever they see you, they have like some kind of words to say to you, like, oh, I'm gonna kill you, and then you're fighting.
Nice.
Them, and
that was fierce.
Yeah, it was. Yeah. And then they kill you, and you're obviously mad that they killed you, but then they like taunt you as you die, and they'll remember that they killed you, so they taunt you and you die, and you're already feeded up, and then you're gonna run and get to them as fast as you can because you want to obviously murder them, and then when you get there, they taunt you again. They're like, I already slain you once, I'll slay you again, and it just like I remember the first time I was like, I cannot, like it was actually like it impacted me, and I was like, geez, this is intense, man. Like I'm gonna just destroy him. And it's really cool. And then like also if you burn them and then they get away because they can retreat, they'll have like burn marks on them. And so it's this cool system of remembering you and your play styles. And it was very, very awesome. And it was fun to manipulate too, because you could scare them, and if they got away, they would get buddies with them. So the next time you find them, they'd have like bodyguards because they knew like they were scared of you. And then each orc also had attributes that like this guy's scared of fire, this guy's scared of animals, this guy is really strong, and so it added some variety to just would have been nameless enemies.
Yeah, definitely. I mean, we could talk about this kind of stuff forever, but moving right along, what have you been playing this week, man?
This week I haven't been playing a lot. I've been mostly doing schoolwork and stuff, but when I have gotten to play,
same.
I've played a game called Max Payne 3. It's an old game, not that old. I don't know exactly when it came out. If you want to look it up. But it's obviously the third one in a trilogy. But it's a third-person shooter, which means you see the person. You shoot guns, and its mechanic and gimmick and like the Max Payne thing is bullet time, where like you can like jump in a direction and it slows down time, and then you can like aim bullets, and it ends up with these really cinematic and just epic like scenes of you like coming into a room, there's a bunch of guys, they start shooting you, glass goes everywhere, you dive to the side and you get a couple bullets off, and then you fall behind a counter.
Matrix-like, man.
Exactly Matrix-like. And it's so, anyway, that's cool enough, but like what struck me that this time playing through this game, because I've played it before, I don't think I ever beat it, I'm probably going to beat it this time, that it just oozes style and love from the developers. Like so much of this game is so stylized, like the cutscenes are like these edgy like things come in and cut the screen, and like this text floats up. Everything seems super deliberate. The amount of detail, dude, like everything can get smashed. When you're in cover, little things like when you're in cover, most games you can shoot out blind fire. You can shoot out like aim and shoot, or maybe you can blind fire. This one you can blind fire, you can aim. You can also just kind of peek out. Like the little details in this game, like when you're behind a wooden panel, it's going to get splintered and eventually decay from people shooting at it too much because the bullets are going to riddle it. There's just so many little awesome details that you can just feel like this was a passion project for the developer, and I think it sold pretty well. I'm not sure how much money they made on it. I don't think it was that big of a profit because I know there was some delays in development, so it means it cost a lot to make. But it's just it has this feeling of it being this baby that's like I felt like the developers felt really proud of this, and they got the extra time to put in those little details. Like when you're playing for a while and you go to quit out of the game, instead of saying like quit yes or no, you hit quit, and then it's like, oh yeah, I'm weak and I want to give up the fight, or screw that, I'm gonna keep on fighting, instead of like yes or no. And so it's like little things like that, like they didn't have to add. And there's also this one scene where you're running out of Brazil, I think it was Brazil, and they could have easily made it a cutscene, like something you just watch, but instead you play it, and you're running around these bungalows and these villages, and everywhere you look, there's little things going on. Like along the street, there's these cops marching these pedestrians down. There's a guy trying to bang on the door to get into someone's house. There's someone on the ground bleeding out. Like these little things that you can't see everything, so you're looking around, and they know you can't see everything, but they wanted to make the world feel alive, and they really did, and it was really cool. And I just really respect the detail and love put into this game, and so that's why I think it's worth talking about. And then also Origami, we're both playing Origami. You can hear our thoughts on the last PGP podcast.
Yeah, definitely. Moving right along into what we're listening to. I've been listening to a band called Alter Bridge. Exactly. Well, they are a brand, I guess. Alter Bridge, really cool band. Kind of more of like a heavy rock stuff. I love Alter Bridge. I've listened to all their albums. Specifically, Fortress is what I've been listening to. It's a killer album. This thing is awesome. If you want to listen to some sick music to get you pumped up to go crush a workout, man.
Nice.
You put on some Alter Bridge and you just go and slay those weights.
I think I have a couple of their songs from back when I would get music from your brother.
Oh yeah, man.
Yeah.
Oh yeah, dude. Look up Fortress, The Uninvited. That song is really good.
The Uninvited.
Yeah.
All right.
Yeah. So be sure and check them out if you want to be cool.
Is it like screamo, or is it like?
No, it's not screaming. It's not. I'm not really into the screaming kind of stuff. It's singing, but it's got like the heavier kind of,
the bass, the double.
Yeah, exactly. It's got the sub drops and the guitar going on. It's awesome.
Nice.
It's cool. Yeah, man. What about you?
I actually have a couple songs this week. One is a new MGK song. So MGK is Machine Gun Kelly is his full name. He's a rapper from Cleveland. Very good, I think. I really like him, like a lot. I've been following him for a long time. But his new song is with a girl called Camila Cabello. I've been told she's from Fifth Harmony. I guess that's a band. I think they're big. I don't know. I don't listen to radio that much, so I was told they're from Fifth Harmony. She is, but she's on the hook, and her voice is it's so awesome. Anyway, the song's called Bad Things. It's kind of a typical Love the Way You Lie type song. Eminem song, Love the Way You Lie, like, oh, I love you, but I hurt you, but I love you.
No.
So, like, it's not, like, super original in that way, but the beat's really good. The vocals on the girl are just immaculate. They're awesome. And then MGK fits in perfectly. It's just a very well-made song. I really dig it. I thought it was going to kind of be cheesy because usually he doesn't do great with features. Although lately he has been doing better, but this seems like a pretty, I would say radio friendly, but not to be derogative, but mainstream friendly, I guess. I think it's very good. Check it out. Bad Things, MGK, and Camila Cabello. The other song is a song called All We Know by the Chainsmokers. I'm pretty new to Chainsmokers. That's all right. I'm pretty new to the Chainsmokers. I don't know how long they've been around or anything, but I really
How are their voices? Do they sound great?
Shut up. I really like the song Roses, and then I really liked Closer by them and Halsey. I thought that was an incredible song. But this new one's called All We Know, and it's them featuring Phoebe Ryan, which is funny because I just found about Phoebe Ryan a couple months back with her Mine EP, and very good. Also check out that. But she's featured on the song, and it's very good as well. But it was cool to find these two bands separately that I had just found out about and liked, and then that they have a song together, and that I also think is very good. So that's exciting.
Yeah, definitely.
That was cool. Yeah, my sister texted me that. She's like, because we share music a lot, and so she's like, oh, check out this song. It's really good. And it was. It's on my playlist.
Nice. Did she say that they were smoking?
All right. Really trying for this one.
You know it, man. As always.
Let's cigarette out of here.
Oh god. Moving on to what we're watching. I haven't really watched any more of Stranger Things, although I really want to. I just haven't.
It's only 9 episodes, bro. I looked it up. It's only 9 episodes.
Yes. Anyways, I haven't had any time. I really want to, but that's not really true because I have had time because I just started watching Lost with my girlfriend. So she'd never seen it before. I have seen it once all the way through, and it's really cool going back and watching it again because you get so many subtle hints and stuff like that. And watching it again when you already pretty much you know the basic story of what's happening, but you don't remember all the little details in between.
It's like I think I've heard this before, like on the last PGP podcast.
Listen here, all right.
You just stole all my lines.
Something inspired me. Okay, I won't say what it was. Wasn't you. But anyways, we're going back through and watching that, and it's super cool. That show is just amazing. So
yeah, it's great. I'm still just watching Dexter and Lost. Both awesome. Highly recommended. Don't know what else to say. Dexter's about a serial killer. Lost is about being lost. They're awesome.
That was deep.
Both on Netflix.
That was deep.
And like we said last time, if you don't have Netflix, what are you doing?
Go get Netflix. All right, so another section we're adding in here is what we're reading. So I think this is a super interesting section. I try and read. Preference that because if I have school,
we already heard about how you tried to read the Tolkien books.
Exactly. But ideally, I try to read 2 books a month. And one of them typically has to do with history or American history or something like that. I'm pretty fascinated by that. So this book is called The American Spirit. It's actually a really, really cool book. It is written by Edwin J. Fulner. I hope I have that right. And Brian Tracy. So this book is really cool. They go through and they outline some of the things that are unique to the American spirit and stuff like that. So like cool. Chapter 1 is about patriotism. Chapter 2 is about freedom. Then it talks about individuality, responsibility, optimism, honesty. And it just kind of goes through and outlines those things and why it's important for American citizens to understand all of those topics. You know what I mean? Okay. Our government was founded on the idea that either a religious or a moral people would inherit it, and it's not going to work if the people are not either religious or moral. Then the government's going to fall apart. The whole system.
I don't think it was founded on only religious people.
No, well, I said religious or moral.
Okay.
That's a quote. Yeah. So, anyways, check it out. It's really cool. It talks a lot about the principles and everything like that this country was founded on and the morals that it has.
It's cool. Things that are often forgotten.
Yeah, no, definitely, especially in today's day and age. So what about you, man? What have you been reading?
I used to be a big reader. Lately, I haven't been reading that much. I did start back up. I like fantasy. I usually read fantasy books. I'm not a big nonfiction guy. I'm not a big I wouldn't say informational, but like self-help books or whatever. Books that teach you stuff. I like to read for enjoyment and for being
entertainment. Yeah,
exactly. Harry Potter, Artemis Fowl I love reading growing up. But there's another trilogy. I guess it's not a trilogy anymore. It was originally supposed to be a trilogy called the Lightbringer trilogy. It's by an author, Brent Weeks, and it's incredible. It's like magic. It's got a really, really, really interesting magic system, and it's really cool because the magic is how it works is expertly explained, and it's
not super cheesy.
No, and there's systems that are built on each other, and so whenever there's magic used, it makes sense. But anyway, the newest one should be coming out in a couple days on October 25th. Really excited for that. I am upset though because it was originally supposed to be a trilogy. Then this 4th book's supposed to be the last one, but now he just announced there's going to be one more.
Taking a book out of JK Rowling, man.
Yeah, for real. But they haven't been bad. I loved every single one so far, so I can't really complain. Just I wish I had them now. So I'll be reading that when it comes out on the 25th. But currently I'm not reading anything. I also want to get around to reading Lil Wayne's book that he just put out called Gone Till November. It's not a book so much as it's just his journal that he kept when he was in jail in 2009. Huh. I'm interested in that, but Most people probably wouldn't care.
Probably not, but that's pretty cool. No, I'm sure there's definitely an audience for that. I mean, he's a beloved. He's a beloved artist, so fine. Yeah, no, I'm sure, you know, and even if it doesn't, he'll do just fine without it doing well. So yeah, man. So that's pretty much it. I think we're good to wrap up. So as always, guys, thanks for listening to the Peanut Gallery podcast. If you want to come alongside us and offer your unprofessional and insignificant opinions, then please comment on our channel. If you enjoyed this podcast, like and subscribe to our YouTube channel, Beyond Borders. You can find me on Steam at Spades5029. You can find Seth at New001. If you want a game with us, you can friend request us. Check it out. Be sure and check us out every Monday where we upload our podcasts onto YouTube. And throughout the week, we upload more in-depth and specific topics on Thursdays. Check that out on our YouTube channel, Beyond Borders. Last week, we discussed the third and final presidential debate, so be sure and check that out. Thanks for listening, guys, and remember, we're all a little nuts.